so there was elements of luck, but one of the things that has absolutely amazed me, which I was going to go, when I was at Shrewsbury, I was going to be a doctor, then I was going to be an accountant. I was going to be an accountant. And then I was going to do 5 years articles in Swansea, where I was born and brought up. And something said to me, go to university. I didn't come from a background of university. My father was a grammar school boy. And, but something said to me, and it was something in me. And fortunately, Bristol and Reading turned me down. And so I thought, well, I'll ask Oxford and Cambridge, and they both accepted me without any of this entrance exam or anything complicated like that. They just did it on the basis of an interview. Those were the days. The fact was, of course, that the guy who interviewed me at Oxford was 92 and asleep. But nevertheless, I got me into Oxford. And so I did my 3 years there. And then I was going to come to London. And I had £1,000, which my grandparents had accumulated for me in literary penny packets. I had the post office savings account book, in which you 3 and twopence, 2 and twopence, 3 and a penny halfpenny, whatever it was. And this was at the time I was going to leave Oxford, it was £1,000. And I was going to be paid £7 a week by the Peak Marwicks, and we decided to double what they paid accountants, accountant clerks. About £3.10, something of that order then. And they said, no, we're going to have to do the big deal. We're going to recruit from the universities and we'll pay £7. Well, that was half what we were worth, actually, then. We were worth about £12, £13 a week. And so I thought, well, that's no problem. I can take the £7 because I've got my £1,000. I'll divide it into the 3 years articles. That's 300 a year, £6 a week. Add to the 7. I'm pari passu with my peer group of newly graduated colleagues. And something said to me, don't do it. You won't have £1,000 at the end of the 3 years. So I found another guy at Oxford with him got £1,000. And between the two of us, we bought a boarding house, which had 13 rooms. We occupied 2. You got it. We sublet 11. And that actually, at about £3 each, that was £33, divided between the two of us. So I got my £16. Plus my £7, I had £23. That was double what my colleagues were getting. And we sold it a year later for double what we paid for it. And that was, I mean, there was no plan, there was no strategy. No one was saying, oh, you worked it out. It just happened. And then we bought a 44-bedroom hotel. And I used to go off to the City of London and do all that ticking, which was unbelievable. And come home and paint the rooms. Anyway, that was 1957, and one evening I was standing by the switchboard of this hotel. I must tell you about the hotel. It was absolutely fantastic. You had a terrific challenge because it was in Bayswater, and you had to get people to sign in, and as quickly as you possibly could, because every 10 minutes or so the central line ran under the hotel. And the whole thing. You got to get them to sign in and just with their luggage rooms. Anyway, that I was in this hotel one evening when a phone call came through, a friend from Oxford, who said, I bought a business and I'd like your advice. I said, fine, I'll get a cab and I'll be around in a quarter of an hour. And he showed me the business. And I'll tell you the detail of it because it's quite a sort of simple little thing. He bought a thing called Oxford University What's What, which was a 2 and 6 publication as a guide to freshmen coming up, and you could see which pub to go to, which cinema to go to, which restaurant, anything you wanted to do to avoid work. This was in Oxford What's What. And tucked into the back of it, there was a thing called the Directory of Opportunities for Graduates. And all the great companies of Britain, Shell and ICI and all these people took a page saying, the future's yours, join us, we run the world, we're the best, and our graduate training scheme is without equal. And they paid £40 for this page, and there were 40 pages, and that's all they were, all page person, the ideal publishing formula, no editorial, just had 40 pages of advertising, £40, £1,600. And Clive showed me this thing, and I said, "You're mad. These guys have just come up to university. They want a ball. They're not the least bit interested in what they're going to be doing in 3 years' time. What you should do is take this idea, not limit it to Oxford University, give it away free of charge to every last year undergraduate in the country." He said, "That's a good idea. Join me." And I was in publishing. And the £1,600 of 1957 became £64,000 in 1958. It was an incredible, I mean, you've got to multiply that by about 30 to get today's money to it. And from that moment on, we were in publishing, and so it went on. We made money, we lost money, but by the time we got to the end of the 60s, we'd come out on the credit side, substantially on the credit side. There was a huge hiccup. I mean, there was 1962. I think we had about 5 projects on the go, and virtually every one of them went wrong. It wasn't helped by Selwyn Lloyd's credit squeeze, it has to be said, but the fact is we just didn't have a good finance director, and we should have known better. And on the 23rd of December 1962, I said to Clive, "Look, I think we've got a problem here. I better go see our bank manager." So I turned up at the bank in the morning, and he said, "What's the problem?" I said, £82,000. And he said, "Oh, that's head office stuff. I can't deal with that." I said, "Well, it better be quick." So we fixed the meeting for 5 o'clock that afternoon in the head office of the National Westminster Bank. And I arrived in a room this sort of size, and that's what bankers do, a room size, and a table occupying that sort of size, behind which was sitting Mr. Galpin. Mr. Galpin asked me the same questions: "What's the problem? £82,000. What have you got?" "I've got a house, a watch, and a car. I'll take the lot." And he then stood up and said, "I wish you goodbye. I'm retiring in 20 minutes' time as Chief Executive of the National Westminster Bank." And that was the end of it. Gone. And how lucky, how many bankers would have agreed on that particular interview to lend money of that scale? But he was retiring. And what luck. Very different character. Immediately after New Year, we've taken over Mr. Galpin's job. But he honoured his, and so did we. They all got the money. Well, they never got the money back, actually, but they were quite happy to lend us more on top. So it was all great experience, fun. And having, I suppose then one has to realise that one ventures into the public sector, spent astronomical sums of money, the like of which I never dreamt to see. And thank you, because without you I couldn't have spent all that money. I was extremely grateful for the taxes that you've generated, which enabled me to keep spending it rather faster than you were earning it. Indeed, I think there is a minister who's been so associated with conspicuous extravagance as me, the Concord programme, which I spent it in your debt, was thrilled with all that. But there is no doubt at all that the public sector is so exciting that anyone who's been in any way exposed to it realises the scale of it, the ever-changing kaleidoscope of opportunity, the never-ending series of problems and challenges, and every time you think you've solved something, you create 10 more problems. And the truth of the matter is that you only ever get the problems that no one else can solve. If it's an easy solution, if it's a solution that others can do, they never come near you. All you get are the problems which there is tension over, bitterness potentially, and you have to more or less arbitrate one or the other. And the fact is, even if you have, say, 60% of the people on your side, you've got 40% of them against you. And that makes enemies. And when you make 10 such decisions a day, those 40% all aggregate, and you've got an awful lot of enemies very rapidly. But that's the challenge of it. And Headmaster referred to Liverpool, which was undoubtedly one of the formative experiences of my life. I didn't learn a new philosophy in Liverpool, but what I did learn was the opportunity to make my philosophical convictions work